We are officially live. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our co host and our honorary guest. Hello, Emerald.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me today.
Hello, Bopia.
Hello.
Hello, Bongsapan.
Good morning, Cambodia.
No, good evening,
Oh,
Cambodia.
good
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 morning,
evening
evening.
America.
from
Good evening to you,
Cambodia.
Columbus.
We're 8
so,
a.m. here.
Good morning from America.
yeah, I am in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So it is officially 8:13 a.m. here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And what time is it your time, Bopia?
We have 7:14 here,
And how about
a.m.
you, Bong?
802, the Khmer Empire year.
No, it's not
Oh,
8:02.
okay.
Is it true? No way. That's not 8:02. Come on.
That make me
So let's
excited.
go ahead and get started. Thank you very much for. Let's go ahead and get started with the. All right, you ready?
Ready?
Yes.
It's time. 8:02. Here we go every Friday at 8:02 Eastern Time. The Mindful Matter Podcast. Follow, join, watch us, and where you can learn how and why to be the following: successful, healthier, create generational wealth, plant money tree, and above all, how and why it is important to be happier with the people around you. Please, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our 10th honorary guest, Emerald Em. He is an entrepreneur operating franchising such as Blimpie, American Sub Shop, Roller, AMT House, and Farmer Insurance. He is an amazing man with life problem solver, genuine love for improving humanity and the management leadership community through development within the organization, training and coaching, soft skill development through emotional intelligence, essential critical thinking skill, business communication, with presentation and English writing proficiency, assertiveness, and self-confidence. All right, he is intelligent, gifted, motivator, mentor for many successful entrepreneur and management. And now, here is our co-host, Bopir So and Sapon Hall. Stage your Bong Sapon.
All
Go ahead and
right.
prep Emerald.
Welcome, Emerald. Happy to have you on. We're going to go through 6 questions. Okay. And number one, please introduce yourself. And number
Thank
two,
you.
hold on. Now we're gonna go over 6 questions so you know ahead of time. And number two, we'll deep dive into your vision and businesses. And number three, share your strategy on your personal and business successes, challenges, and obstacles. Four, share your experience how to be and stay healthier mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. And five, share your methodology on why and how to build generational wealth and plan your own money trees. Six, and how and why it is very important to be happier with people around you and how to have a strong inner circle of relationships. All six?
Yes, that is the
Introduce
6.
yourself.
Good
That's a lot
job.
of questions.
Yeah, you're getting good at this, Bob.
Thank
Next,
you.
you're going to be next, Bob here. You're going to have to take over next, too. All right, so the stage is your Emerald. Let's do this. Tell us about yourself.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for having me on today. It's been a long week. We've been celebrating International Women's Day all week. It was on Wednesday. I've joined about 4 of those gender equality events since Monday. So it's Friday night here, 8:17 p.m. So just a short brief about me. I know Chris gave a very exciting vision of what he thinks of me. Um, I'm Cambodian American. So I was born in a refugee camp in Thailand, known as Mai Ruat. Migrated to Pittsburgh when I was 4 months old. Was there for a few years, and then we migrated west to Los Angeles, California. So from LA to Long Beach to a few other parts of Southern California, I was there for 38 years. Now I'm in Phnom Penh, Cambodia. I've been here for almost 4 years. I was mentioning to the host and the co-host earlier what brought me back home. So first visit 2010, there was literally nothing here in Cambodia. But what I noticed was a lot of poor people, but they were all smiling. Some walking around without no shoes, no clothes, but there was a smile on their face. And I never wanted to come back to Cambodia. I've only seen what they show on Western media. So I'm like, no, I do not want to come back. My wife pretty much begged me to come. And, it took her 3 to 4 years of convincing where I finally decided to come here. And we had quite a few friends that live in Cambodia, went to school in Australia, Singapore, and Hawaii. And they were living close to it. And, they always talk about, I want to go back home. I'm like, why would you want to go back to Cambodia? There's nothing there. It looks like villages. There's no democracy. It's not safe. You have freedom of expression. You have freedom of speech. We're in the best country in the world in the U.S. But once I came here, a lot of my mindset changed. But 20 years in the States working for large multi-corporations. So I've worked I worked for companies like Bridgestone, Bank of America, First Data, Luxottica. They're some of the biggest in their industry, if not the biggest, and they operate internationally. I held positions anywhere from general managers to vice presidents with these companies. And, we made a lot of money there. But the tax in California is insane. Doing 80 to 100 hours a week. Sometimes more, working 6-7 days, even owning businesses while we're working for other people. It wasn't fulfilling. So 2019, we finally got the opportunity to move back. And, this is a permanent move. We end up selling our house. We sold 3 of our cars in the States. We brought 1 here. And, there's no looking back. Now we have a home here. We own a condo. We own several businesses here. I still work for 2 nonprofits. I actually run what they call the Labs Foundation, known as Life and Building Safety. We work with 4 American brands to ensure safety within their factories. So the funders of our program for the Labs Foundation is Gap, Target, Walmart, and VF Corp. So I do a lot of work with them, but I also do a lot of work with the government, other NGOs, CSOs, the private sector. And then I also run what they're called IDH, Transforming Markets. Both of these are nonprofits from the Netherlands. IDH deal with 13 sectors. One of them is labs. The other 12, we dabble in agriculture, landscapes, smallholding farmers. So 4 of our main focus is better environment, better income, better jobs, and gender equity. So this is probably one of my most fulfilling jobs, even though it's probably one of the least paying, but it allows me to build a network into a net worth here. But it also takes my mind off of my businesses sometimes because it's when you're running businesses, and in the States, me and my wife, we own a few Blimpie America Sub Shop, a Rollers, a farmers insurance agency. And then we also had businesses that failed. Not everything is a success. And over here, we own Tea House, and we're the master franchise for that bubble tea shop from Thailand, which they have 70 or 80 locations in Thailand. We have a few now in Cambodia. And also own an auto repair shop and a car wash. Those 2 didn't do too well. I just closed those down. But, one thing I learned, which it's different than in the US. From a lot of the people I know, you're either working, and if you work, you might own one business. Over here, what I learned from my friends, which took 15 years of knowing them, or 20 years, to realize they own 10 to 20 different businesses. And I know a lot of entrepreneurs that's doing so well here. And they'll tell me, Bong, the first 10 businesses we opened all failed, and the last business that got us going, we stuck to it, and now they're opening, they're back doing a lot of different businesses. If you heard of ChemDry, that's a franchise in the US. I have a good friend that franchises that here. But if you come to Cambodia, I know Bong Sapon will be here next month, you will see the opportunity here is a lot more endless. It's a lot easier to get things done. It's a lot easier to mix and mingle with high-level government. In the States, we're looking at maybe lucky to meet the mayor or city council member. Here, I'm dealing with ministers, sometimes the deputy prime ministers, and on slow occasion, I'm with a lot of different billionaires. I don't think I ever met a billionaire in the U.S. Here, I've met quite a bit within the first week of being in Cambodia. So it's
Please hook us up, both here and Emerald.
so
build
yeah. I'm trying to get to them. It's
Cambodia.
So
Emerald,
yeah.
can you
Now he's back.
can you rewind about 15 seconds back, because you were freezing up for about 10 seconds?
Mhm.
Yeah, so my wife owns her own leadership development business here. My wife has done a lot, and people think I'm busy, but she's like a superwoman. She's on the board of the American Chamber of Commerce. She's their vice president. She's an honorary consul for the Sweden consulate office here in Cambodia. She was also the chair of the Women's Committee. I don't want to brag, but she
Please
was.
do. Please do. Please
Please,
do.
I would love to meet her. I hope she has
Please
time.
do.
So she was also a regional for Asia for a microinsurance company, and she was doing something else. So she was doing like 5 different things at once. Of course, she helped manage the tea house. That's more of hers than mine. And like for me now, I do a lot of volunteering work. I do a lot of training. I offer, even on the Saturdays, on Sundays, I was doing voluntary training on English communication and self-confidence presentation for TDA. So TDA is the Voluntary Doctors and Nurses Association from the Prime Minister's son, Hun Manait. I was doing that. I volunteer on Khmer Sight Foundation as a pre-screener and translator, interpreter for our wonderful ophthalmologist that flies in from a bunch of different countries. And then I am part of, 7, 8, 9 different committees here, just advising or chairing. So I try to keep my time as busy as possible. But when it's free time, typically on the weekend, I spend it with my family.
Wow, that was mind-blowing. That was mind-blowing. I mean, I don't know. It's so much information you share with us that was so important. And I have this positive energy. This is going to be a good podcast. I can feel it. And, where have you been? I've been looking for you. Kabambi been looking for you.
Yeah.
Cambodian community.
And trust me, Chris chases me a lot.
Any Cambodian watching?
I hope I'll share the link to all of them on my.
I share with my community. I'm with about 5 community major communities.
Thank you, Bong. Thank you. Well, it's not so much the recording now; it's what's coming afterward. So that's when we can record it, share it, So this is recording for life. So whatever you share today will be replayed 30 years from now. So
Sounds
that's
good.
how critical important it's going to be. So that's why I feel such a positive energy. I think with your caliber, with your education, with your intelligence, with your dedication and commitment to building a business, a finance. This is what I'm all talking about, is how the rich gets rich. It's through franchising. Is you taking what you have and you share with other people and make them wealthy. And if you make them wealthy, guess what? They're gonna give a little bit of bonus to you. And that's what a franchise fee does, right? But that is so important to have somebody like you, Emerald, to be part of rebuilding Khmer Empire, the 802 rebirth and rebuild the great Khmer Empire. Not only, you don't have to be in Cambodia, you could be anywhere in the world. And that's what I'm trying to build is, live wherever you want to live 100 location, fly, be everywhere. Okay, through business, through finance, through build generational wealth, through planning money tree, we all gonna come together and do this. So I'm so optimistic about you, and I'm extremely happy to have you. So, but before we dive deep into your, into your personal stuff, into your businesses, let's back a little bit, because you give us so much information. It could be lost. Not in necessarily translation, but as in when people tapping in, when they're listening to you, they might not get. So let's read back. You were saying something, you were born in refugee camp, right? Let's just refresh a little bit. And if you don't mind, if we're going to go overtime this time, I'm going to extend about 30 minutes overtime, because I know we're going to have a lot of important things to say. So would you agree to that?
Yeah, I'm good.
Would everybody agree to do the overtime? Because this is going to be good stuff, right? So you said you were born in refugee camp, and then you said, I heard Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, because that's where I'm at right now. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's what he
born
said.
in Maidot, a small refugee camp about 5 kilometers north of Kokong province, right off the beach. And then Pittsburgh is where we landed.
And how long did you stay in Pittsburgh? And what year was it?
So between 81 to 83, 84, right around that time. So I was there either 2 or 3 years.
Okay, I missed your tail then. I didn't come down
Yeah.
here until 85. So, because, we have the name to come earlier, but, we kind of delay. But we just wanted to be here in the United States. So that's why we waited to come to USA. So yeah, and then you would say you migrate to West. Tell us a little bit about your experience over there, because I heard a lot of gangster there back in the day. Tell us your experience. How does it affect you?
Oh, it's so it changes a lot of mindset. So we weren't, we grew up very poor. We grew up on government assistance. My family was me, 5 siblings plus my parents, and my great uncle. So 9 people in growing up on AFDC, welfare, Section 8, food stamps. I mean, I was very I thought we were doing okay. I never realized how poor we were. And we got sponsored by the Christian family into Pittsburgh, and they were still kind of sponsoring us when we moved down to South Central Los Angeles, in literally I would say about a mile from the USC campus. And this was very few Asians at the time, and of course even less Khmer. Mostly blacks and Mexicans. And my first best friend was black, and then the second best friend was Mexican. So I didn't really, and plus, you watch TV, all you see is a lot of white people, and you start to idolize, like, why am I not white, right? I'm looking at my skin, and I kind of hate myself, and then I'm like, I'm Asian, why am I Khmer? Because I don't know any Khmer. So it took me quite a bit until my teenage year, especially once I moved to Long Beach after a few years in South Central, where the house next door was getting burned down, constant homeless, sleeping on the side of your rented house. So I moved to Long Beach when I was 8, so around 89. So a lot of fights, a lot of shootings, a lot of stabbings. For me, I was lucky not to join a gang, but I've been shot at 3 times. I've been stabbed in high school, right in the ear, actually. So 15 stitches. I got stabbed my senior year. I got jumped by a blood gang, and they said I started the fight. I'm like, why would I start a fight with 3 people, right? So I got kicked out my senior year. So I end up going to a different high school, but both high school. I went from Long Beach, Jordan, to Long Beach Poly, and you know, everyone was very nice, but it was very hard to escape the gang life, right? A lot of my friends grew up gangs, doing 15, 25 to life, 40 to life, because they always get picked on. They don't feel like they can take care of themselves. They want to, and a lot of people join gangs just to feel like they are part of something. For me, I always had that alpha mentality where I didn't feel like I needed anybody, right? Because I was pretty much the only boy before my youngest brother, who was about 8 years younger. So my other 4 siblings were sisters. So I always tried to protect my sisters, and but a lot of people just they get brainwashed into joining gangs, and I try to educate them, and some were able to break free, and some weren't. They love the gang life for some reason, and I didn't like it at all.
Wow. Wow. I can't imagine. You were saying about Alpa, you were being a superhero at a young age and stepping up and trying to protect, be a protector, being a warrior. I can't imagine, what you're going through.
Yeah, and then growing up Khmer, I'm only like 5'5", 5'6", right? So I was always like the shortest person, but because I've been in so many fights, I was never really afraid of anybody, right? And I always seen the younger kids or smaller people get picked on, and I always defended them, right? That would cause me to get in more fights, because I hated bullies. So a lot of people would call me the bully of bullies, right? And I was always a nice guy. I never looked for confrontations. I didn't like to argue. So that now I'm a lot more free spirited. I am less argumentative. I just let it be, unless I feel like something is not right. I will speak up.
So it's still that instilled in you. That's just like part of your destiny. That's what you're born to be a leader, to be the protector. I mean, that's just something that you can't, it's a gift. And, I'm glad that you stick to it and be confident and recognize that what you have been gifted to you. And you basically just, keep doing what you're supposed to do. I mean, I'm very proud of you. My life a little bit different. I took the easy road, but I can't imagine what, what you're going through and what other Khmer people are going through. So I'm glad you survive. I'm glad you rise, and I'm glad you conquer. So.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing okay. And then I'll go on a little bit, about the network, the people I include allow to get into the circle. I'm pretty open and stuff like that, but I'll go over that a little bit later.
Yep. And then, like, how do you start into this franchise, this professional franchisee or franchisor? Because that's where the money's at, actually. But you were at the other end. We're trying to make Khmer on the, from the starting point. We are the franchise, sir, not the C. So,
yeah. I didn't become a franchiser until I moved to Cambodia. So I was owning franchises in the States. And you figure it's a turnkey business.
Yep, absolutely.
It's like we make money. It's a name brand, so it's a lot easier. It's actually a lot harder. You still, there's advertisement. You constantly have to do that, and this is physical advertisement. So I was owning the franchises inside Walmart, and it's a different customer base. So you really have
Yes.
to and it's not only different, but the age is different. So you have to send print advertisement to them, which costs a lot of money to hit around the neighborhood. Cambodia is all about Facebook advertisement. So, you know, how we got into this, we were looking into a different franchise known as Nobicha, which is pretty popular. It's also from Thailand. And, but they already had a master franchisor, and they were charging pretty high to open the franchise. So we end up saying, okay, you know what, let's open a different one, because the Thai lady, she owns 3 different franchises in Thailand. So she has the Nobicha, and then she owns something called Bongcha, and then AMT she was just coming up with. And I said, oh, AMT, it has my name in it. I was like, let's do that, you know.
Wow. What a coincidence, right?
Yeah. So we opened that in Tmmp Kraum. We messed up. It was during COVID. And then we bought her other franchise in Poipait, which is on the border of Thailand, literally 100 meters from the border. So we bought those 2, and then we said, we'll go ahead and, you know, she's like, do you want to franchise these? I said, yeah, just allow us the opportunity to franchise, and we'll start it. You know, unfortunately, the one in Tmmp Kraum, we were only open a year and a half. You know, the lockdown and schools being closed down. We end up recently moving it to Svai Rieng, which is about 30 minutes away from the border of Vietnam. So those are our 2 here, and you know, we are franchising other locations, but you know, we see it as an opportunity for us. You know, one of the biggest franchise here is Cafe Amazon. It also came from Thailand. So when they first came, you know, it's constantly busy, and then all of a sudden, you know, people started opening. There was no rules. They were opening it like 50 feet, 100 meters away, or across the street. And, you know, they started taking each other customers. So for us, we have a rule of, you know, if you open in this location, you have a 1 kilometer radius from your location, that no one else can open that unless you want to open another one yourself.
Yes, we need that rule, because we don't want to, you know, side by side. So that's not going to be good. I mean, it's good to have competitive, but not that close, you know. Yeah,
you don't want to compete with your own brand, but we give them a 3-year license to, after that 3-year, then, you know, if somebody wants to open closer, then that's, you know, then we'll negotiate for them.
Is this available globally, or is it specifically in Southeast Asia?
I think it's only in Thailand and Cambodia. I don't know if it's gone into Laos or anywhere else. So
I am interested of taking that franchise and introduce it to Kabami, passionate entrepreneur and investor, because that's what Kabami is about. Is 3 type of people within our membership: is passionate entrepreneur, investors, and also inspirational leaders, because we want to make them wealthy so they can have more time to be inspirational leaders. So yeah, she did I would be interested.
She did ask if we wanted to franchise in the US. We said we want to focus in Cambodia first, but
my hands up. Okay. I'm here for you. Just let us know.
Sounds good.
And same thing with Kabami. Kabami is not just one particular franchise or businesses, but what we're doing is helping passionate Khmer entrepreneur to create a business. So the first step I do is I talk to passionate Khmer entrepreneur, find out what their talent is, find out how I can help monetize, and then help them open a business. And then after that, if I feel that you're extraordinary and you understand how the money works and how you build generational wealth, that's when I become your business partners. That's when I get my Kabami investor to be involved, to make sure you have the resource to expand to globally. And that's where the franchise comes in. So then now, once you establish that business plan, now you just sit back and just share your knowledge, just share your training, and just make sure the operational goes smoothly. And if there's a challenge and obstacle, you just face it heads on and you solve and remove it immediately, so that you don't have to close the business down.
Yeah.
So that's what we do as a Khmer global company under Kabami. It is a multiple companies that are funded, that are operated by Khmer people around the world, and that's why we call it Kabami. So it's just three type of people: about Khmer, passionate entrepreneur, investor. So we can also be investor as well. We can invest $200, $300 to $3 million, $300 million, $1 billion, whatever you want. We have different stage of services, of businesses, of services, project. So every single project, products is all different type of investment, because everybody doesn't fit into one little hole, but it's all different shape, different hole, right? So we're trying to give all Kabami investor the opportunity to look at what's available and what's best for them. But there's no pressure. We just present, right? So that's what we do here, and that's why I'm so excited to meet you. You're talking my language. You're talking about business. You're talking about franchise. You're talking about generational wealth, and I get excited when I see somebody. I don't have to explain to you, because you could actually teach me.
I learn from. I'm always learning. So that's
Yes.
one thing that successful people do. They're always learning. They will tell you they don't know everything. So they're always learning from anybody. It doesn't matter who it is.
So let me ask you this question, very critical, important question. What's holding us back I think there's 17 million Khmer globally. What's holding us back to be that forefront of the creativity of that business entrepreneur, of that intelligent, like, when you look at the Jew, like, oh my God, we admire Jewish people. I mean, people hate them because they're just smarter than most of them. They get jealous. There's jealousy out of that. But they're actually really very admirable person, very smart. What would take us to get to that level of taking where we are and become the face of success? What can we do as a group, as a country, as a brother and sister, from me to you, from Bangsapan to Bopia? What can we do? What can we drop? What can we forget and focus on to make us that face of success?
Trust, collaboration. That trust goes a long way in the Khmer community. A lot of the entrepreneurs here, startups, SMEs, they have to get a lot of investments from other parts of Asia, typically Singapore, Taiwan, China, Korea, even Thailand, Vietnam. So they don't really, a lot of Khmer don't really invest unless they see something where they're like, okay. So I have a lot of friends who does investing here, and once they invest in something, they know it's going to work, and they actually offer their expertise. They become angel investors, so they're not VCs. VCs are known as vultures for a reason. They are there to make money as quick as possible and get out. But it's also a lot of and I'm just referring to Khmer here. A lot of them start businesses because they want to get rich quick. They had an idea, and I actually advised for something called Platform Impact, and it's an advice steering committee on SMEs and startups, but specifically impact businesses that can help the environment or do something that's meaningful, right? To provide an impact. And so they come up with these ideas, but they don't follow up on it. When it comes to presenting to investors, my wife actually have people that helps prep them to do presentation to investors, and these people would start presenting themselves. So you have to know your own strengths and weaknesses, right? You have to know your audience. So a lot of them, their English is okay, but when they start speaking, it doesn't make sense. There was something called Blue Tribe for UNDP, and they went through a 6-month incubation thing, and then they started presenting 9 different startups. And I'm sitting in there listening, and these are all Khmer, right? And they start presenting on their thing, and they're going off script. So everything they were going on during a 6-month incubation period, they weren't comfortable with. And this is a language thing, right? And that's why I teach self-confidence. It's because people, they will be more confident speaking in Khmer, just like my team. When I have them do presentations to my buyers or the factories, they are not comfortable at all speaking English. But when they start speaking Khmer, oh my God, the confidence is like a 180, because they know exactly what they want to say. They just can't say it in English. And so I told these startups, I said, if you don't have confidence, because most of the investors you're presenting to are English speaking and not Khmer. So I need to find somebody that is better at presentation. They don't have to be a co-founder. Maybe just somebody you trust that can actually present this for you. And I tell them, I said, when I was training the doctors, nurses, and whatnot, and these were anywhere from early 20s to late 30s, right? And I said, tell me your story. So I said, this is when you are ready to pitch, and go ahead and do it in Khmer. Because I know, a 10-week program, and they're only spending 2 hours for 10 weeks with me, right? 2 hours a day, that they won't, it's not going to help with the confidence to the point where they become comfortable. So I said, let's do it in Khmer, and then you figure out how to translate into English later. But I want to see how you do it in Khmer, and I'll grade you off of that. And, it's so different when you're doing it in Khmer and English. Only a few were able to do it in English confidently. So I said, please hire someone, pay someone to do the presentation for you, right? But people are so cheap. They're and it's not just cheap. Maybe that's all they have. But I said, I believe in what you're doing, but the audience don't, right? And I'm not the one investing in your company. They are, right? And you're looking for 50,000, 500,000, 1 million, 2 million, or whatever. And there's only a few that I've seen. One of my good friends started a pharmacy app called Tmmp. So he's born here, but he was in the States, went to school in the States for a 10, 15 year, worked for CVS as a pharmacist. And then he came back here and he's like, what do we need here? And he started the app and it's doing very great. I think he's finished his second round of funding, and, raised $1 million or whatever. And, I also tried connecting with a couple friends, investors, but of course, during COVID, it was a little hard. So he ended up getting overseas investors. But his English is so good. He has the command of the audience, so he's standing there, people listen to him, right? Other people, you see them, they're very introverted. So you have to know your strengths. You have to know your weaknesses.
Yeah.
Now, I noticed I went to visit Cambodia in 2014, and the same as you said, they're very poor, and I see children being used to go begging for $1 or $2, and if I give $1 each, they complain about, well, other tourists gave me $10. They're really smart, but the problem is. The problem is, I don't want to see children begging in the street. That's the problem that they need to fix. They need to teach the children to go out there and make money and, sell something instead of going back and, for really nothing. They don't really offer us anything. Well, a few offer touring, like taking me up to visit the stupa, climbing about 200 steps. So, well, yeah, I'll pay $10 for that. But otherwise, just begging for not offering services, I've seen a lot in 2014. I don't know if the rule changes, but I don't think it's really ethical to do that. In America, bakers are homeless, and homeless is not really sort of like a choice here. And most of the homeless are schizophrenics, or it's really not. They could get help, but if they're really mentally disabled, they can't really go out there and get help. But Cambodia, there's a lot of choices, and the first thing to start is teaching them, how to read and write, and then teach them business. But that's the problem right there. Like you said, it's really hard for the Khmer to learn English or other language. Well, maybe there's interpreter line that they can use. And again, you said that it's cheap. They're cheap. That's because maybe they're poor. Maybe because they're not cheap, they're poor. So there has to be another solution. Maybe the investor might want to assimilate to the Khmer culture. Maybe they should learn Khmer or get an interpreter to do it. If they really want to invest, maybe go that route. I'm working on like trying to get Cambodia to use Khmer as the first language instead of learning so many languages out there.
Well, I think if you're talking about language, I think I agree with you that they should. I myself included, I will need to learn Khmer, write, read, and everything I need to do. That's something that I have to do. But I do agree with you that if you're living Khmer or Cambodia, you should be able to speak Khmer and focus on Khmer. And then the other foreigner, they come in, they have to listen Khmer as well. But to be successful, you have to learn to speak
The native language.
English. You have to learn how to speak Spanish. You have to learn how to speak even Chinese. And even Japanese, if you're going to be successful.
In this generation, it's really hard to get them to learn multiple languages. I'm seeing a few that are really smart. They can speak English more fluent than us here. But gee, my throat. So
you need a glass of water?
I understand that. Huh?
You need a glass of water?
Most of them, they're really, it takes them like, it's really hard to learn different language. It's just really extremely difficult because they've been through so much. They've been through.
Well, to counter what you're saying, Bopia, that is part of Kabami's vision, mission, goals, and plan of action. So us together, all of us as a co-founder, members, we will find solution, whatever that challenge, whatever that obstacle is. That is the reason why we're starting this Kabami program. So please be patient. We're gonna bring all the membership together.
I'm
We're gonna
very
look at
patient since I've been back to Cambodia, but it's kind of running out of patience because we're still very slow. Well,
yeah, so I can answer a lot of
You see,
what
a lot of people learning Khmer too. A lot of
Emerald, you said that they're comfortable speaking in their own language. That's a tool. You found the right tool, so use that tool. Make them speak in Khmer if they're more comfortable, and find another way to go around it. So
yeah, so a lot of these things, when you have international NGOs organizing it, everything is in English. Sometimes interpreters are available to do it from Khmer to English, Khmer to Chinese. But these are people that's looking for big investments, right, in their startups. And these are incubated startups that's been in there for a while, and they were chosen could have been 50 or 100 different startups. So, out of those 9, they found something where they said, okay, we can help develop. When it comes to, 2014 was a long time ago, it's
almost 10 years.
Yeah, he's freezing up, so we're gonna wait for him to come back.
Must be Cambodian and network, right?
Hey, Emerald, you were freezing up for about 10 seconds again.
No worries. My visit from 2010 to 2017 was a big difference. 2010 was hardly any high rises here. 2017, oh my God, it's night and day. And now we're looking at 2023.
So real estate is the big investment opportunity?
Real estate, of course, agriculture, the manufacturing. There's so much different things you can do here. So let's go back to language, right? So in the U.S., white people are about 70% of the U.S. Not sure if that's correct, but they only know one language. You come here, the kids, even though the average education, especially, see, I'm in the garment sector. I deal with about 600,000 people. 85% of them are women. 15% are men. So their education level average is 5th grade, right? And that's the reason why. So the parents, they'll let them go to school, but the parents, everything is a survival mindset, is short term. How can my kid help me sell stuff or find money? So you'll see young kids selling stuff on the side of the street. Almost everybody here has a business. No kidding. Almost everyone has some type of business, a street
No
vendor.
legal age.
I would put it
By
at
the tourist
99%,
It's
right?
really by the tourist place, right?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
In the
It's selling
province,
stuff food, restaurant.
on the side of the road, like everyone has
Yeah.
some type. Their house, if they live in a shop house or link house, they turn it into a store on the bottom floor and the house on the top levels, right? But the people here that I meet, they speak not only Khmer, they'll speak Chinese, they'll speak English to me, and then all of a sudden they'll start speaking Korean. It depends on who they have to deal with. So Khmer, in Khmer is being taught in school, but our education is constantly being improved slowly, but it's starting to get up there. And that's the public education. For the private education, there will be a requirement, because Khmer was not a requirement in private. And a lot of kids goes to private school, right? But private school can be anywhere from $50 a month to a couple $1,000s a month, right? Depending on what school you
Is
send your
it
kids.
investable? Open school up in private or public? Is it investable?
Yes, it
Well,
is.
now the law changed that even in private, they have to teach Khmer as primary language. Because some private school don't even have Khmer anymore. But it's a new law.
They just started that for international private schools. So international wasn't a requirement. It was a whatever you call it. And then so the prime minister's son, who's probably running for prime minister in 5 years from now, he is saying that should be a requirement, and more than likely it will be coming probably the next school year or whatnot.
No, actually, it's passed already, like last month. The law.
I haven't heard about it because he just spoke about it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
I have not seen it passed yet.
I don't know when I read it. Probably like 3 weeks ago or something.
Yeah, he literally just spoke about it because I just saw him at our event about 2 weeks ago, and he spoke about it a week before that. So he said it should be a requirement. I haven't seen it passed by the Ministry of Education yet, but if he said it, it will come. It will be coming true. And so here is a survival when homeless in the U.S. We talk about schizophrenic. I live down the street from Skid Row in Los Angeles, right? A lot of them were not schizophrenic. These people chose to be homeless. If you wanted government assistance, you have to really F up to be homeless in the States. Like, unless you have a real mental problem, you have to really messed up to be homeless in the States. And homeless in the States is nowhere homeless here. You still got some type of support, right? Homeless, and there's only a few homeless people here, and those are the one that's really drugged out, and people just gave up on them, right? But our thing, so in 2014, there was probably no middle class. Now there's actually a middle class. I would say, if we look at when I came in 2010, I would say maybe 2% was upper class and the rest were lower class, right? There were literally no middle class. Now I would say maybe we have 3% and 3 to 4% in the upper, 15 to 20% in the middle class, and the rest in the lower class. And you see what's being driven here, and the development. So, a lot of things. One of the things I changed is I don't listen to much of the Western media like I used to, because they only tell you what they want to tell you, and controversy sells, right? For me, I live here. I deal with a lot of different organizations and the government, right? And I see a lot of nice people. There's still bad people, but a lot of people here, I feel like a lot there. You see what you get, what you see, right? In the States, there's always a hidden agenda when I'm networking. Over here, people are pretty much upfront, and so you start to feel like these are actually really genuine people. They're here, and there's a lot of expats here, and they're here to actually make something out of themselves. So I'm
Now,
at 50-50 with
I'm going to change the subject from education to factory or business. For me, I want to see more people working. For let me see our age, and like the parents working and the children under 18 going to get education. I don't know if that changed yet. Now, to get them to work, because a lot of some people go to work in different countries, like in Thailand, so their family being separated, or in Korea, in China, and in the area, Southeast Asia area, where they could make money. But to bring them back, for me, I came up with maybe bringing more jobs, building more factories, because that's all. They're really good in doing manual work, but doing something like using mental, it's kind of challenging for them. So what kind of factory, what kind of work do you think that we should bring in to Cambodia? They bring forward. Can you look that up? I can remember someone up north, no, south of Battambang. So they have
in
Ford
Posad.
factory already. Huh? I'm sorry.
It's in Posad.
Posad, yes. I can never remember that province in Posad. So I want to look more into it, and then I want to kind of do something that's similar to that. Maybe we can bring Boeing to build, have factory there and build. It's kind of hard to do it because Boeing is an aircraft company. So maybe something that Khmer people can do. So what's your thought on that?
So there's a lot of factories here. There's less automated. So the factory that it's really not a factory for Ford. It's an assembly plant.
Okay.
We also have a Toyota assembly plant here in Phnom Penh. So Ford, the parts are shipped from Thailand and they get assembled here. So that was, I think it was in May of last year when they launched the assembly plant. I was there. It was a pretty nice place, and it's very, very huge. It's building a lot of jobs. So one of the things we have here is energy issue when it comes to electricity. So we buy a lot of electricity from Laos, from Vietnam, from Thailand, and we're trying to go clean energy. We try to get to 60% in 2040. So I am also an advisor on the Green Business Committee for the European Chamber of Commerce. And I'm the chairman for the Garment Manufacturing Committee for Eurocham also. So those go hand in hand. So, I work with factories, I work with the buyers, and they're either part of my program or they're, it could be European buyers. So, we represent on our Eurocham committee, we represent 25% of the exports on the GDP for Cambodia. So we're working with the government, we're working with different ministries, the CDC, showing them numbers, how to bring in more foreign direct investment. So one of the main things we're trying to get is a lower electricity costs here. And also for them to lower the capacity charge for solar within these factories. We have Coca-Cola here. We have, of course, Heineken. We have quite a bit. Of course, Cambodian brewery. And it's electricity is one of our main thing. That's what we're trying to work with. And that way we can bring in more automation here. And automation, we're working in bringing luxury brands to do their manufacturing here. Cannot name them yet. Hopefully sometime this year they'll come in, but it's a pretty high-end luxury brand. And we're doing our best, but again, it's there's some red tape we're trying to get through. And one of the things I talk about with my committees is strength in numbers. The more we can get together, the more we can leverage what we are looking for.
Yeah.
That's
Embo,
great.
I
I'll get in touch with you about that after this. So I guess I can get your information, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We all
Yeah.
connected. Yeah, Emerald, what we're saying, what we're talking about is so important. I think since it's so important, I think we should have an episode just to focus on this unification, cooperation, collaboration of how we all can come together and discuss this matter.
Mhm.
I think that's important. It's a big platform. It's complicated. So we're
Yeah.
going to need all of us to come up with that, learn the challenge, learn the obstacle, and come up with a solution together. But it's gonna need all of us
Yeah,
to
and it's changing because you got to remember the old generation are retiring from politics, so the younger generation is typically our generation is getting into the senior leadership position within the government. They're Western educated, so they have the local culture they're preserving plus the Western education that they're combining. So Bong Bupia, whenever you come back, you'll see it's night and day. It's so much different.
I really need someone like you to tour me around, but
Yeah, me too.
and
my
we're planning to visit.
my team will be visiting sometime this year. I have a 2-year terms that I'll be doing. I won't mention in here because this is a business forum, not a political forum. But
That's right. That's
I
right.
just know I steer clear of politics, even though
I'm
I
sorry.
steer clear of politics in Cambodia.
Can you repeat that, please?
I steer clear of politics in Cambodia.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny that you said that. Bong, what are the 3 things that we keep things private, Bong, under Kamami? Religion. We keep things private. We don't
And
force you
other
to do
type of
anything.
business.
So religion,
and,
politics,
Yeah.
and business
So
operational methodology that are multi-level marketing,
into business, you know what?
Ponzi, and
Yeah.
pyramid. So
You
those
know,
things we ask you to keep it private. But
Yeah.
so that will bring us all together, because sometime when we talk about those 3 things, we feel
avoid
very
conflict.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's emotional.
anyway,
Yeah, and emotional, it's uncomfortable. So I want to keep that private, and we really focus on businesses of finding, looking for that challenge and obstacle and find solution together
now,
of when it comes to finance and business. Of
and
how do we build
business-
generational wealth together, right? So I think that is we're on the right path of 802 rebirth and rebuild. Remember, don't ask her to stay in Cambodia. Ask her to have a house everywhere. Have a home everywhere.
Yes.
Right? I want you to have a home. I want you to have a home back in USA, back in Pittsburgh, back in California. And we have a real estate business. It's called Anchor LLC, which stands for Anchor Luxury Living Community. So that people like you, people like Bupia, people like Sapol, it's going to be starting with about 1 million mansion to $10 million mansion, but it's going to be about 15 to 20, just like Hollywood. But we all into that real estate business as well. But it's going to be, that's why I need to create and help as many passionate entrepreneurs become millionaire and build generational wealth so they can afford it, so that we can build our own Anchor LLC, which is luxury living community. So I am in the process of exploring and designing that as well.
It's a good idea, because if we don't do it, somebody else will.
We as a
you-
community have to come together and share wealth, share our knowledge, and come up with solution, unification, collaboration, and cooperation. So those are the 3 things I want to focus on. So, but anyway, the next 30 minutes, I would like to go back to our podcast mission is to focus on you only. I know you have a lot of great things to say. I want to hear more, but we wanted to go ahead and kind of turn left, turn right to our TP, our podcast messages.
We're only number 1 right now.
Yeah, we're still at number 1 because you have so much to say to share. And we love hearing it. We love it. But
you have so much information. I was like, oh my God, really tune in. Really,
I know. I didn't want to cut you off. Believe me, it's so important, and then we can't help but just to continue asking you questions. But let's go ahead, and if you don't mind, the next 30 minutes, I would love to focus on the Mindful Matter podcast message. And you already told us about yourself. So let's go ahead and focus on those a few businesses that you do. Let's dive deep into your vision, into your personal vision, into your business vision. Let's dive deep into that.
And we're number 2 now.
The next 30 minutes, we're going to get this done in 30 minutes, okay?
I hope so. So my wife and kid don't come ready for sleeping.
No, she can come in and join us. They're like sit right beside you guys.
You can sit
We'd
there.
love to
My
have
son who's going to be making a lot of noise. He's 5.5, almost 6, and he still sleeps with us. So the youngest one.
I see.
Yeah. You don't want him here. You won't hear him.
It's okay. I love children. I'm good with children. So.
Yeah. So let's hear your vision and businesses.
So, vision, it's surround yourself with good people. And when I mean good people, it's not people that's always saying you're doing a great job. It's people that will say, oh, you guys, it seems like you guys are freezing.
I'm fine.
We're fine.
Okay. So people that will say, no, that's not how it is. They're constantly correcting you. You don't want a bunch of yes men. So, my people we have like a small knit, we call Americanos, which so most of them grew up in the US and end up coming back here. And almost all of them came back here before me and my wife, and they have their own businesses. They also work for private sector or NGOs while they still have businesses. So for here, the income tax is so low. It caps out at 20%. In the US, I was paying 45 to 50% taxes, and that's before I have to pay for any other type of insurance. That's what I hated about California, right? I love California, but I hated them at the same time. But yeah, it's you have to stay focused. Constantly put yourself out there. I'm an introverted person. Most people don't know that. I had a very hard time networking to begin with. So I was part of the Irvine Chamber of Commerce, one of the largest chamber in the U.S. I was also part of the Eastville Chamber of Commerce, the Corona Chamber of Commerce, West Hollywood Chamber of Commerce. But I was more of people coming to me. It was very hard for me to introduce myself to people. I felt intimidated when I had to go up to people. Now, I feel so at home. It's so easy for me to go network. I don't even network for business. I'll tell you that right now. I network to meet good people, and I meet a lot of good people through my networking. And I meet a lot of C-levels. I meet a lot of tycoons. Over here they call them oknya, right? But I deal more with the government and the private sector, the C-level. So, I'm constantly meeting CEOs, chairmen, and that was very rare in the U.S. I was meeting a lot of middle to.
Can I pause you for 1 second?
Yeah, go ahead.
I love the way you said you have a lot of connection to CEO. Can you get them to be on our podcast? Can they speak English, or do we have to do it in Khmer?
I can check with them. Most of them speak English. There's a lot of CEOs from Malaysia, Singapore, Hong Kong, Korea.
Khmer, right?
Do we need to do a podcast in Khmer? If that's the case, we may have to, redo our podcast in Khmer language. Maybe is that something we don't need to?
You don't need to. Maybe find somebody to do subtitles if you wanted to.
No, we can have another episode. It's a continuation. Don't have to do anything.
If that's necessary, we'll do it too.
So much to learn from what you have to share. Oh my God. So much.
Okay, but all right. So anyway, let's go ahead and focus on your vision, because we can get easily discuss a lot of good things here. Let's focus on your vision, on your personal life, and what was in your mindset to make you successful from your vision. Say, hey, I want to be successful. What was your vision before that? And you want to start a business. What was your vision before that? So if somebody's listening to you right now, what can you advise them to do? Like, number one, you said, the relationship that you got to hang out with the right people, that not a yes sir, not a yes ma'am. It's more like, hey, if you look at that, I don't think that's going to work. But you want somebody that that are honest, that not afraid to disappoint you or make you upset because they're telling you the truth, right? So let's dive deep into something like that. The vision, you know, tell me what's going on. How can you advise somebody listening to us right now how to put things together in perspective to make sure that your vision is success, your business is success?
That's a hard question to answer, that last part right there. So for me, why I was able to build relationship within a short time with a lot of these C-level is I'm a very genuine guy. And I love to joke around. And, I treat everybody as equal. Doesn't matter who I meet. And one of my weakness is, I have a very bad memory, right? So if I've met you once and you don't stand out to me, and especially because when I network, I drink a lot, right? And I had quit drinking for 5.5 years before I moved back to Sokmai. And within 3 to 4 days, I get invited to this event from a close family friend, and this is where I meet freaking billionaire already, right? And so they're pulling out $500 plus whiskey, and they're just bottles after bottles. It's like, okay, I see how the lifestyle is. That's when I started picking up drinking again. But it also made it easier, and it's not going to do it for everybody, but it made it easier for me to network. But of course, if it comes in the last half of the networking, I start forgetting, right? But a lot of these people that I meet, they actually ask for advice. These are C-level, and they're making a lot of money. And they also own businesses here. And a lot of them won't tell you what they own, right? They'll tell you one thing they do. You have to actually get very close. Then you find out, man, this guy speaks Khmer. Oh, he's been here he has 5 other businesses while he's being a CEO for this. He's advising. And that's one thing I learned and this is why I volunteer my time and I'm on so many different committees and whatnot, is because this is where I branch out and I meet the correct people, right? Or I get connected to the correct people. So a lot of people just go network and they just said, oh, okay, this is not for me. Or they try it a few times, but they give up. For me, the funnest part of my life is networking besides my family. And a lot of people who meet me, they realize I'm not trying to sell them anything. So it makes it easier, right? And then I start connecting people with other people. So I like to call myself the bridge builder. So I start connecting them with them, and I'm like, okay, hey, have you guys met each other? So and so, and I would tell them their name, I would tell them the position and and their company, right? And then I said, so and so does this also. And then they start clicking. They're like, oh, okay, because people start looking at other people, and they maybe a little bit jealousy pop up, and they're like, oh, I saw that person. He looks like he's Singaporean, just like me, but he looks like a person I don't like, right? And I would tell them, I said, this is a very cool person. I've known him for this long, and so is very cool. So my networking is like, I network in culinary, right? In education, in real estate and construction. I don't do any of these stuff. I rarely do F&B networking, right? So you'll see me everywhere. CSR. You'll see me at different chambers, even though I'm not a part of it. When people invite me, I will say yes, because after people meet me after a month or once or twice, and when I invite them to my events, they actually show up. And I'm very grateful for that, right? And it has nothing to do with what they do, but they actually show up to my events. A good friend here, he's a Prince Sisawat, and I'm not going to tell you his first name, but I met him once and invited him to my event. He shows up, So this is why I said people are genuine, and they see me as a genuine person, and I treat them as an equal. Even ambassadors, I meet once or twice. The ministers, if I wanted to invite certain people, they will show up. They'll put it into their schedule. But again, it's how good are you able to put people at ease, and that goes into business. When
Okay.
you want
So,
to have a
so,
successful business, it goes into that.
so Emerald, you're good in working with the C level, but let me ask you a question about the non-C level. How do you get someone who's dragging, who's not motivated to do? This is in Cambodia. I've seen a few of them asking for money instead of opening a business. How do you get someone non-motivated? And if I say, hey, I'll help you with business, I'll advise you. So, and then they would say, well, I'm not good in anything except what they're good at right now, but that's really nothing. That's not bringing any money in. So how would you work with someone, people like that?
I don't. I'll be honest.
Good answer. Good answer.
That's not going to be part of
You don't
my
have
network.
time for that. You don't have time for
It's,
that, Embro. If
if
you
I
can't
feel
help
like-
yourself, I
Yeah.
can't help you.
If I feel
That's
like
good
they're
answer.
a
I
good
love it.
person,
Love
then
it.
I will try
Yes.
to advise them a
No,
few
no.
times.
I mean, we're bringing factories to Cambodia, right? We're bringing more business to Cambodia. Now, use your expertise to help those. There's a lot of dragging people in Cambodia. How can you change them? You can change them. You probably can change the world.
It's very hard to change somebody's mindset, especially on their upbringing. That's where after being here for almost 4 years, this is when I realized, there's certain people you want to invest your time in, and there's a few that you really like. Okay, this person just needs direction, and that's where I offer my training. So they join part of the training, and I do that for free. I volunteer for other NGOs, and people non-C levels actually do come up to me a lot. They do recognize me from LinkedIn, from Facebook, because I am on a whole bunch of different posts because they go through the pictures. Facebook is like life for them. They hardly on the internet, but they're on Facebook and YouTube, right? And they will come up, and I tell them, no problem. What advice do you need? You need a 30-minute, a 1 hour meeting, a 1.5 hour meeting. One of the gentlemen who works for Eurocham, and he was, I think he was an investment analyst, nice kid, early 20s. And he said, Bong, can we meet? I said, of course, because I've only spoken to him once or twice. And he's not the executive director or the chairman that I normally deal with. And he just wanted advice on schooling, recommendation. But, he's done a great job for one of my events. I said, of course. When do you want to meet? And he wanted to pay for our breakfast. I had to order food and drinks and whatnot. I said, no, I got it. Right. Because I understand he doesn't have money, and he's such a great kid. And that's just one of the few things that I've done. I meet a lot of people. I ask them what they reach out to me. Can we meet? I ask them, what are you looking to accomplish in this meeting? And if they let me know what it is, then I say yes. And rarely do I turn down meetings with anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love your answer. I mean, there's only so much that we need to focus. There's so much time we need to focus on certain thing that's important and gonna shoot us to the moon. And then once we're in the moon, and then we can come back and start building the infrastructure that we need to rebuild those non-C level. So yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you on that one. So
just to add on real quick, again, 2014 to 2023 is a big difference. A lot of people are actually motivated. You'll see they're very hardworking. These people are working 50, 60, 70 hours, 7 days a week. And they're actually, and they're happy. So some people we see, like, man, 75% of people are struggling, but they're struggling financially, but they're happy, right? And trust me, I've talked to them. They're happy. They don't want to do anything else. A lot of people don't want to get promoted within these factories. They enjoy doing what they're doing, making $350 a month. To me, I make that in less than a day, right? But they're making that in a month, and they're happy. So what is it to us to change their mood, right? Yeah, maybe they can make 600, 700, 800. One of my friend owns the office the building that I'm in is called PPIU, Phnom Penh International University, and she has people working with her for 20 years. And I asked her name is Bongalap. So I asked her, like, why are these people not leaving to work for a different university? And she said, I treat them like family. And they get invited to events, and there's a reason why they continuously stay with her when they can make an extra 25, 30, 50%, even 100% more, but they choose to stay with her because the grass isn't always greener when you make more money.
That is true. That is
true.
true.
So they're afraid of the challenge.
People that sometimes they're comfortable where they're at. They don't want to step up, which is you can't really make them. But I'm more concerned that about the unemployed people who's not working, who's not doing business. Because I'm a person who's I'm interested in starting them up with businesses instead of just not doing anything. Working for other people is okay, but in Cambodia we do need a lot of people to step up and do more. Because like during the kingdom time, the Angkorean time, the woman, they were so into marketing. Women were smart because they're like selling items, and the men would go out there and find the products for the woman to sell. So the women were really good with math, and so I'm not surprised that we're still good at it. And so the problem is when I asked them, hey, produce this product in Cambodia, and they said, oh, there's no market. So that's why I'm trying to get your idea. How do we get, market out there for them?
Depends on what you're looking for. So as long as you know the right channels, people will make anything for you, right? Mm-hmm. I find it easier for me to get stuff done. Like if I need to put my logo on shirts, hats, bags, pens, you name it, I can get it in a few days. I can get it same day, even a custom mask. I think our unemployment is probably less than 2% here in Cambodia. And this is working age 15 to 60 years old, because the retirement age is 60 over here.
Oh, not 67, 65? That's good.
60. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you work beyond 60, that is your choice.
All right, Mr. Bridge Builder, let's move on to the next topic. So as a bridge builder, share some strategy on your bridge building success and challenges and obstacle. Let's focus on that.
So I've had a lot more failures than I've had success, right? Again, it's those failures. What do you learn from it that will make you successful? So will you give up after the first failure, after the second failure, after the third failure? Again, like I said, I had friends who started 10 plus businesses where they fell, and finally that one that succeeded, and they just built off of it. Right now they're owning their own barai. So if you know what a barai is, it's a big neighborhood with a bunch of homes. So think of it as a community,
like luxury a village. Yeah.
Yes,
barai,
and so
city.
So there's a lot of barai here, and I have quite a few friends that own different barai, right? But they actually are close friends where they pool the money together. So if you look at this barai, it's very rare where it's only one person that owns it. So it's typically 3-4 different minimum investors going into it together once they get the land. For me, success is having the right person, the right partner. My wife is always on top of me, where she's always saying, do this, do that. You know how women are.
Right? Ever since the Angkorean time, I told you.
I'm still learning about them.
Yeah, but you need it. You need someone to tell you are veering off path, right?
Yeah.
Challenges.
The manager, the family woman.
So that, when me and my wife actually network together a lot. So every time, and a lot of people don't know we're married. So I was like, yeah, who are you here with? I'm like, I point to her, and I said, that's my boss. And then they're like, oh, okay, you work for her. I said, yes. She's the boss of my house. And they're like, oh, okay. Challenges, man. Oh shit, there's so
She's
much.
Khmer, right? Your wife?
It's yeah, she's Khmer.
Okay.
So she's actually a year older than me. Um, so she was born, I think, in Battambang or Sarai Sisapon or whatever. And so she didn't come to the U.S. until she was almost 10 years old. So she lived in the U.S. for almost 30 years before she came back here with me. And we work in a lot of same industries, so we deal with a lot of the same challenges, right? When it comes to negotiation, getting investments, you need a good guy and a bad guy to work hand in hand, right? So you cannot have, if you're negotiating, you cannot have two bad guys, right? So this is, and I used to be in the car industry, right? I used to work.
Khmer, they call it bong aisle. You bong and then you aisle, right?
Yes. So, I used to run car dealerships in the subprime market for a company called Drive Time. They operate in the Sun Belt states, so from California all the way down to Florida, North Carolina, whatever. And this is when I realized, the people like, used car salesmen are so like snake oil salesmen and whatnot. And there's a reason for it. They would come over with you and they do a four square whatever, and they said, okay, this is my sales manager said this is all we can do, and the salesperson is supposed to be the good guy, the sales manager is the bad guy, right? So it's the same in almost any type of business. You have to have somebody that's positive and someone that's the devil's advocate, right? And you realize that actually works, but we don't do it where it's so sleazy. We do it where a person understands and another one is kind of giving pushback. That's the only way to negotiate to get the max of what you're looking for, right? And not lose everything. And I used to train a lot of merchant reps in the Bank of America. And, we had like 3 different lease costs, the minimum, the middle, and the max. And, one girl in particular would give the merchant the lowest leasing price to start. So, and I'm wondering, like, she's such a good person, very nice, very built a lot of camaraderie, but why can't she sign contracts? So I said, you know what? I'm going to go shadow you on one of the bank visit or your client. Please set up an appointment. I will shadow. So after that, we took lunch after she was done. I said, you messed up when you went at the lowest price. There's a reason why, because you leave yourself no room for negotiation. Right? Because once you go there, these people have deal with merchant reps for 20, 30 years. They're like, oh, no, I know you can go lower. And she's like, no, this is the lowest I can go. Right. So I said, and, I was after, and I badgered her pretty good. I was very critical of what she was doing. And I said, I'm doing this so you can survive here and make money. Right. Guess what? The next month, she was the second ranked person in the region. So again, it depends on how you, if you're a great negotiator, the challenges is always like people calling off, you don't have enough staff, COVID, location matters, constant need to advertise because, and I always tell people about advertisement. Like I believe it was Coca-Cola that didn't advertise on the Super Bowl for 1 year. And, Coca-Cola has the market, right? So they stopped advertising for 1 year. I believe Pepsi gained a 10% or 15% market share because they continue to advertise. And, and Coke really, it hit home. They're like, we do need to advertise, out of sight, out of mind.
Yep.
And, the best person I would put for when it comes to advertising is my mom. All she watches TV, right? So she buys whatever she sees on TV. So I'm like, Ma, cho make thing Pepsi nhá, cho chip Pepsi and cho man Coke. She said, oh, Pepsi is because all she sees on TV.
Coke, but right? Coke Pong. Yeah. Right?
So advertisement is very important. And, that's why some of my businesses fell because, I got complacent in advertisement. what they call guerrilla marketing, where you're passing up flyers, putting them in cars, just hiring people. Even though it cuts into your bottom line, at least you have a bottom line. Once you stop advertising, your bottom line's in the negative now, right? And I learned that the hard way. Even though, I went to Pepperdine, and, Pepperdine accepted me. It's a Christian university, but they accepted me. I'm Buddhist, right? So they accepted me. And we had Muslims, we had all different. And that's what I really love about Pepperdine. They didn't care about your religion. They wanted to bring the best of the best into the fold, right? Even though I identify as Buddhist and I don't like to talk about religion, I'm not religious at all, right? I go to the Wat back in the US twice a year, Khmer New Year and Chom Ben. That's whenever my wife's grandma said we need to go to the Wat, right? I said, okay. Here we go a little bit more. Whenever because you have Chinese New Year, there's so many holidays here. And Cambodia, I gotta say,
Christmas too.
More occasion to drink.
Yeah,
there's a big Muslim community.
$500 a bottle.
They love to call
Alcohol abuse.
You look at, I have friends who's like ordering cases and cases of wine through my sister who sends it from the US. They're spending like $20,000 every couple months on wine, right? There's a business for everything here.
When you say about advertisement, I know the women's they're making so much money. I mean, I have people here who would just watch Facebook, watch the famous Facebooker who sells their products. Like, I guess you all know them. I'm not gonna mention their names. But yeah, her name was in my mind. You got that one right. She's a lovely lady. I mean, they would pick up the phone. They would call them and order. I said, you know how much the shipping cost? They said, yeah, but who cares? Oh my. So I want to work on tariff too, like, shipping anything from Cambodia. I want to see if we can, work on that, make it cheaper for Cambodia product to be shipped out. So that's
we're gonna meet privately with Emerald and talk to him about more privately as well. So
we can look into logistics.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a high logistic cost that we're working with the government also. So part of my committee also I have Maersk, DHL. I think FedEx is also in my committee. So we were looking at the logistic costs, and it's expensive. I ship out a letter to the US, cost me $80.
Oh wow!
Just to get some $80. Yes.
A letter.
Yes, and that's
and that's not express,
FedEx.
Right?
FedEx, yeah, overnight.
Oh, FedEx is express. Okay.
Express, yeah, just a little envelope with a couple.
$80 not too bad.
$80.
That's a lot of money.
Email. We have email.
Well, they're willing to spend more than that for their product. So, talking about advertisement through Facebook.
We can talk about that. I have people in logistics. We can talk, and then I'll talk with. I think it's through the GDT and the Ministry of Public Works and Transport.
Okay. Yeah, we're definitely gonna get in touch.
So, yeah. So there's always things we can work on, but I have to be able to show them the demand overseas and how much it can generate for them by them lowering. So this can help increase exports on certain things. We were just working with Eurocham event on exports of cosmetics.
All right, let's thank you. Let's move on to number 4. Let's shift a little bit. Let's talk about your experience, how to be and stay healthier mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. What can you advise our listener to, based on this subject matter, stay healthy?
Especially
I
with
wouldn't say
doing so many things like you. It's stressed out.
I know.
Keep him so busy. He's healthy.
Liquor, right?
Yes.
What do you do?
Yes. So I do drink a lot, but I enjoy drinking. So physically, I have gained a lot of weight since I've gotten down here.
Don't look at it.
But mentally, I feel a lot better. emotionally,
Good to hear.
spiritually, and even financially, right? Taxes is a lot less. There's less requirements for insurance. It's actually cheaper. So I have a in-home nanny. At one point, I had 3 nannies, cook, cleaner, and then a
Wow.
driver. So those were costing me $800 a month for 4 of them, right?
USA dollars? $800 a month,
Yes.
USA?
Yeah.
3 of them were in home. They share a room upstairs. I have a 3-story house, and the driver just comes work for me Monday through Friday. So yeah, $800, right? So now I can network. I can drink while network, and then I'll take either he picks me up or I take a ticket back, right?
Good strategy. Good strategy.
So
That's one reason why everybody want to go back to Cambodia.
imagine spending working 80 hours in the US.
Yeah. It's a common life. Yeah.
Trust me, you guys will want to buy a house here and stay here because, again, 80 hours, 100 hours working in the US, spending another 20 plus hours in traffic, and having no time for your family. On the day you have off, you're cleaning your house, doing the laundry, trying to catch up to stuff, right? Now, again, we feel like we're more emotionally and physically available for almost everything.
Wow.
More time. Really?
I would take you up on it.
Even after all that, many businesses you involved, you have more time freedom. Oh my God. So excited.
Yeah, I gotta get you connected with Rati Teng. He's in real estate in Cambodia, built a lot of home, and he will be part of the Angkor LLC company.
That's the same as
Yeah.
Angkor LLC Borai.
So we're talking about finance. Let's go ahead and touch base on finance a little bit, and then we're going to lead into sharing your methodology on why and how to build generational wealth and plan your money tree so you can have 10 assistants, right? And then 3,
and
right?
help others do the same thing.
Because you give them opportunity and you're supporting them as well. So at the same time, they make your life easier, right?
Yes. So
please.
Financially, again, multiple businesses, minimum 3. If you have to work, do something that you love. And to me, this is my most fulfilling positions, running nonprofits here. But you cannot just do one business. You cannot bank on that. And if you can't, here it's good to invest in real estate, in land. So if you don't have enough money, I have friends who that owns different networks of investors where they pull their money together. So let's say they want to buy a plot of land for $1 million, right? And typically if they buy, they keep it for at least 2 years before they resell it. So you only have $10,000. Yeah, you can go ahead and invest. They can bring up to 50, 100 people into this. You invest 10,000, you invest 5,000, but that's your percentage of that $1 million, right?
Right.
So if you come
exactly.
up with 100,000, you're investing 10%. 10,000, 1%. 5,000, half of
Everybody a chance.
But you will notice. So a lot of my partners. So I deal with a lot of remediation firm, engineering, construction companies that does work for my factories, and you meet them. They're younger than me. They're like late 20s, early 30s, and I think that this is their only business. No, it's not. And they might be the chairman, but they're one of 3, 4, or 5 investors in that business. All of a sudden, they have this other business, I'm like, holy crap, right? And that's what I didn't know until I moved here, because my friends did not share a lot of stuff with me, and my friends a lot of them here are super wealthy, right? You won't even know what they have. And so a lot of people here think rich people here are middle class in the US. Oh, you have no idea what wealth is in Cambodia. Right?
No.
I kind of get the idea.
Right? So
because they don't pay a lot of taxes like us, so they save a lot of money more than us.
There's different taxes. The investment tax are still close to 20%.
Yeah.
But again,
Still
it's not like
much.
Nowhere near that. And so they take that money, they invest here, they invest there. They're leveraging so many different things.
I told them, don't get sick.
And I speak about a lot of my friends because I'm
Don't get sick.
targeting them as my next level to get to. And one friend owns 20 plus businesses. I'm like, you got to be kidding me, right?
Wow.
And they'll tell you some is just what they call a something cash cow, where it brings in money but not a lot, but it's consistently profitable. And there's others that's rising stars, shooting stars, that's just constantly making money. It's constantly growing, bringing in investors. Don't get me wrong. There's still some scammers here, some fraud, some people that take
Oh, yeah.
advantage of you. So you have to be very careful who you go
That's
business with.
everywhere. Yep.
High level people. You have to be very careful
Emerald.
because they will leverage you out of the business.
Emerald.
Yes.
I am so extremely excited, and here's the reason why. I was worried about I got to do everything to make this happen. When you're telling me that this youngster, 20, late 20, early 30, they're doing this already, that brings excitement to me, because I was more concerned of there's too much work for me to do to bring this passionate entrepreneur together, to bring investor together. My question was, do I have enough Khmer investor to create multiple Khmer business globally? When you said that to me, I'm extremely excited, because now I meet a lot of passionate entrepreneur, but I am lack of Khmer investor, which means when you're saying that to me, that means that I don't have to go out there and reach out to my UBAMI network. UBAMI stands for Universal. I have a lot of network with outsider because I'm adopted and have a lot of international friends and business partner. But when you said that to me, that we want to build Kabami under Kabami Khmer, it is a Kabami, it's a Khmer global company, which means that every business that we start, it's supported and invested by Khmer investor.
Yeah, that's
so
why I
that
said
nobody can tell us what to do. We can control what we need to do to build that generational wealth. So when we build generational wealth, now we can do a lot more impact from improving the country. But we don't, like I said, we'll keep everything private, but all we want to focus on is wealth. Wealth make our life better, right?
Yeah,
but
that's
again,
why.
the finance, but the priority about wealth is not, it's not about money. It's about physical. It's about mental. It's about emotional. It's about spiritual, right? And money is important, but you can have money all in the world, but if you don't have physical well-being, you're not wealthy, right?
Is it health?
So that's why this is the reason why I'm so excited when you're telling me that you are able to get me connected with CEO. You're going to get me connected with an investor. This means that we'll really can create this Kabami reality rather than me waiting for decades to make it happen. Before I know it, like now my son and your son have to pick up where we left off. Now we can actually do in our lifetime.
It's not that. We're doing this for ourselves so that our
this
children can
program
take
with
us
you.
an example. We don't build wealth for our children. Our children build their own wealth from us, learning from us. So we have to build our own wealth by, really round ourselves up.
I was a little concerned. Because I do
that's
have
why
challenges.
In my life, I dedicate my life to focusing on Cambodia only. Once I'm, rule Cambodia, and then I can rule the whole world. Like you said, we don't have to, there's too many laws. If you're working with UBAMI, with other nationality, it's just too many, because they have their own agenda, their own, it's just
vision, goals, and plan of action. But again, I was concerned because if I having a lot of passionate entrepreneur, but I don't have Khmer invested, then I have to create a Khmer investment group
all over the world. You just have to find the right connection.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that I'm excited to hear from Emerald that he's actually going to bring us the CEO and bring us those possible network with investors. It's kind of enlightened me that I don't have to work so hard because it's already been built. But bridges already been built. That's why you're a bridge builder.
Amazing.
Right. So I'm excited about that. So let's go ahead and give us some advice at this moment. How would you advise our audience or us three? How can we build generational wealth through all your network? I mean, I'm sorry.
So,
Build your own money tree.
I focus on money, but coming here and after meeting a lot of the successful people, they were all looking at. Give me 1 second.
Your 5-year-old here.
Come back later.
Almost done.
Can we meet?
Ask
Can we
them,
meet
you
your
want to
kids?
join us?
No, it's okay. He's in his underwear. They'll come back later.
Okay.
So, one of my friend, I said, I want to start a school, but it's more of a vocational school. And she asked why. I said, oh, because I want to make money, right? And she said, no. You have to start with the mindset of how can you help your people here. And this is when I realized a lot of the people I work with, they actually do a lot of charity work. They do a lot of volunteering. They volunteer their time. And
Yeah,
if you
that's
think I
me.
volunteer my time a lot, they volunteer their time even, I would say, 3 to 4 times as much as I do, right?
Mhm.
So they have charities set up here, and one of my best friend, he's the founder of Khmer Sai Foundation, and the chairman is one of the founders, the co-founders of LASIK, right? So he's one of the top 5 eye surgeon in the world, based out of London. So he flies into Cambodia to perform eye surgeries. When I was in the States, I volunteered, but very little. Now I do a lot of volunteering, and because you meet a lot of good people, and you will. This is how I meet people. That's another part of my networking, and I join it, and just we talk and ask each other why we volunteer, and what is our expertise. So this is what I realized. They all have a way to give back, um, and I have Khmer and Muslim, Jam in
Yep.
here, and they do a lot of volunteer work. You'd be surprised that they give back a lot.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, the more you give, the more you get back. So the more you volunteer, you'll be surprised that you get more than just volunteer coming back to you. So
Yeah, when you give without expecting.
Exactly.
That's what I do. When I decided to, well, I don't actually do donation, but I do fundraising. So we do have a program called Kabami Good Deed. We work with 10 to 20 different nonprofit organizations around the world, and we do fundraising, and we pick 4 of them to represent them, and then we donate 25% to each of whatever we raise. So that's what we do too.
Yeah, I'm volunteering my services, so through interpretation, through translation and other things that our community need, because the Cambodian mainly community. And also for this new year, I volunteer to model. See.
So
And I love it. It's my
I
passion
noticed
too.
that you volunteer to help underprivileged Khmer people that are need a lot of help to get them started, to where they
But
need to
don't ask
be.
me for
So
money though. I'm not a big fan of giving just monetary thing to
Yeah,
like
I donate my time.
I don't. Yeah.
yes, sweat and
Yeah.
equity, and yes, sweat equity. Yes. Mhm.
Yeah.
So let's
No.
go ahead and focus. Next one. Let's go ahead and go to our last topic. About all, how and why it is important to be happier with the people around you, and tell us how to have a strong inner circle of relationship, please. Because I know we touch base a lot with that.
Yeah, it's network, it's trust, being genuine. I think I've made more friends here. My LinkedIn, I had a original LinkedIn that I had for so long in the States, maybe 12, 13 years. Whenever LinkedIn came about, I started my LinkedIn, and my network was around 500 people. Here, I have a LinkedIn for less than 2 years, and it's almost 1,000 people, right? And these are people that I actually know, right? In the US, I think about 60% of them is because I was trying to network with CFOs and CEOs especially in regards to the payment industry. So now I can actually nitpick who I want to deal with, right? So people come up to me, because I network where I don't feel like I need anybody's business. So now I choose who I want to hang out with. People will ask me for meetings, and I'm receptive to meetings. And then once I meet them, 90% of the time we can continue on. 10%, I said, yeah, that's not for me. So it starts with your network, start with your family. I am grateful to have my wife. We've been together almost 22 years. Kids, three of the best kids. Family is very important. If you don't have that support, you can't do anything. And then, of course, I do things that makes me happy. I eat whatever I want. I don't diet. I don't exercise. I should. Again, I I do get extremely busy, and then so when people reach out, if you don't hear back from me, it's because I am busy with so many different things.
I
I'm
need some
glad
of those
you talked
coffee,
to me
Mom.
about this before. Coffee.
I need some of those coffee right now. Here you go, please.
I got mango drinks from India.
Well, let me see if I can take that.
Mango season in Cambodia,
Can
right?
you imagine in the future we can actually share the coffee right now? Like take it over.
It's
I think
ginger and
that
lemon.
was possible. It's against the law of nature,
I
so
want to
no.
make sure I
So-
stay awake and listen to everything
I know I'm trying.
Emerald
but
has to say.
I am wide awake because of his subject matter. I love what he's saying.
Love you and love everything you said. Everything you
Yes.
said.
Hey. Hello.
Hi,
Hello.
baby.
Nice to
Can I
meet
call you
you.
baby?
What's your name? What's your name?
Chua
Chmo
What's your name? He said Everest.
Everest.
What, another one?
Mount
Emerald?
Everest.
Mount
Wow.
Everest.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
So good to meet good client like you, Owen.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
getting late for
You
them
give us
too.
hope.
So let's go ahead and
Let's continue.
so number one, more importantly, is you gotta have your family supporting you at all costs, right? Stick with
Yes.
you, back you up, and so and so.
And that's not easy.
Right. And number two, you gotta have the right people within your business profession network, that the people you want to be with, not trying to reach out or hoping. You just know net picking, right?
Yeah.
Is that what I'm understanding, right?
Yes. You have to be very selective of who you deal with. Stay off social media. If you're doing that, limited your time.
Yep.
But stick to what your main focus. You have to continue to stay focused.
Absolutely. Thank you. Well, you know what? We did win over time, but again, it was worth the extra time, Mr. Extra Bridge Builder Connector. I will look forward to meet you privately to talk between the four of us or among all the upcoming co-founder for Kabami to discuss all the challenges and obstacle and solution that we can come up with. I think we have a lot to do, but it's necessary that we have to do this to empower not only the woman, but all of us, including the kids and everybody else involved. So that's just the only reason why, or the reason why I want to build Kabami, is to rebuild and rebirth of the Great Khmer Empire. And I know I'm thinking big. I'm scaring a lot of people, but if I don't scare you, you might not be the right person. So, but if you're willing to learn and seek knowledge, seek experience, and seeking solution, I'm here. And I'm hoping to have you join us soon as a co-founder, Kabami, so that give you the right to have Emerald at kabami.com as one of the co-founders. So I'm happy to meet with you. I'm excited and looking forward to share everything with you. Everything I do is about transparency, honesty, reliability, dependability, and I take accountability if I make mistake. And I can say the same thing with Bopia and Sapone. They also are one of the co-founders of. We're gonna have 100, and after 100, everybody just a regular member of Kabami. So this is a good start. Thank you so much, Emerald. I look forward to meet with you privately and more often. Thank you so much. I appreciate you sharing your story.
Get some good sleep.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't sleep much.
So
Cambodia,
this would
they have
so
the night
this
market. Remember? Night market there. I don't think they
Night
sleep
market. There's no sleep in Cambodia.
I typically wake up 3, 4 in the morning, so I don't sleep much.
so much fun now.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Trust me, it's so much things to do. A lot more fun. You know, there's so many people from the U.S. that has homes here, so they're constantly flying back and forth because and then when they come here for a month, they don't want to go back because it's a lot easier. They feel easier, I think, when they go back.
Vacation.
Now it's it's
like a
back to the
vacation, right?
grind. Yeah.
So we have people from Cambodia bought a home here, have their send their children to school here too, vice versa.
Yeah.
Yes,
Let's do
there's
that.
a lot.
That's
The
our
world
goal.
is like one now.
Our goal is to build global Khmer Empire. We
Yeah.
can go anywhere we want. We can go to school anywhere we want. If something dangerous happened to us, we can just fly where we need to fly, escape, and be safe. So there's a lot of crazy people out there as well.
Happy
So-
Women's Day, also up here.
Thank
Pierre,
you.
can you were telling me you want to invite me to go to Cambodia
Yes.
to meet the prince and princess. Since you already have networked to the prince, maybe we can share a little bit about our plan of action, when the good time for us to get our passport and start making our plan of action to see if we can have to come visit him and visit the government and learn
Sure.
about them and support
Sure.
them.
Yeah. It's within 2 years. I have to do all those meeting them.
Starting
Yeah,
now.
let's do that.
Exciting.
How about you, Bong? You want to come with us too?
We're still collecting data. So.
I'm gonna need some off camera because we run out of time.
Oh, okay,
And
okay, good,
Emerald will be a good connection for me.
Yep.
To do my project 2-year term. So, like I said, I'll be getting in touch with you. It's an important project. You're gonna love it.
Yeah. So my phone number, I think Chris has it.
Yeah.
I'll type it in here. Please contact me via Telegram, not WhatsApp.
Yes, yeah, we can do Telegram,
yes,
we can do
I have
WhatsApp, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll find a way to find you.
Telegram is a lot more secure. Okay.
I have Signal
Yes.
too, but I use Telegram a lot.
Yes,
Thank you so much, our
Yeah.
co-host, Pierre. Thank you so much for
continue.
support. And thank you, our honorable guest, Emerald.
Yes.
Some
And I hope the
good.
audience enjoy this as much as we do.
You have a good
thank you,
night,
and
and we will meet soon in Cambodia.
Yes.
Share.
Okay.
Thank
Happy
you.
New Year.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.